The Northwest only all local newscast after World News Tonight.
On World News Tonight, the fury begins. Hurricane Rita approaches. Here in Texas, they expect entire towns to be overwhelmed. In New Orleans, it's happened again. A critical levee overwhelmed after the first rain. The massive evacuation turns tragic. A bus full of elderly evacuees from Houston bursts into flames, killing 24 people. Tonight, our correspondent shows what it's like in hurricane-force winds, a cautionary experiment for anyone thinking of riding out Rita. And he's helped save a lot of lives, always in the eye of the storm. Our person of the week, Hurricane Rita, state of emergency.
From ABC News, this is World News Tonight. Reporting from Texas, Charles Gibson.
Good evening. Tonight from Port Arthur, Texas, the city of 59,000 people that lies right on the Texas Gulf Coast and lies right in the crosshairs of Hurricane Rita. Rita has been downgraded now to a Category 3 storm with 125-mile-an-hour sustained winds. It is expected to hit landfall just about daybreak tomorrow. The storm, though, is massive. A hurricane warning has been posted all the way from Sargent, Texas, up the Gulf Coast to Morgan City, Louisiana. Every one of those areas on the coast are expected to feel hurricane-force winds. And before Rita has even reached land, it has already claimed casualties. Parts of New Orleans were hit by the northern bands of rain as Rita passed to the south, and parts of the city were reflooded. And 24 people being evacuated from Houston to Dallas were killed today in a bus fire. I'm standing on the seawall that protects Port Arthur. It is 17 feet high. When the storm surge comes in, it is easily expected to breach this wall. And all of the city of Port Arthur lies on lower ground. We spoke with Port Arthur Mayor Oscar Ortiz this afternoon. If it comes over here, if it comes over the seawall, I can't help but notice once it breaches this that we're standing on, it doesn't have much to block it here in town.
It doesn't have anything, Charlie. It's so much lower down there, and we have all our old homes, our old plantations that are facing the Sabine Lake out here, and those most probably will all be underwater at least by 2 to 3 feet.
The hurricane could well slam into the oil refineries that are here.
I've got most probably 2 of the largest refineries in the world right here in Port Arthur. That's one of my big fears, that hopefully that there will be no damages to the refineries, because if there is, then I'm definitely going to have a lot of pollution coming into the water here.
Officials are trying to adjust their efforts as the track of the storm changes. It appears that Houston and Galveston could avoid a direct hit, as Rita has veered slightly to the east. Although the storm has been downgraded to a Category 3, forecasters say that does not mean that it's safe.
They'll get definitely tropical storm force winds in Houston, Galveston, maybe hurricane force winds. But if the track is off by only 30 or 40 miles, maybe 50 miles, then the worst of the weather will actually go to that area instead.
And officials in Houston are still taking no chances.
Rita is dangerous. People in our region will be in danger based upon all the forecasts we have at this time.
State authorities advised residents who were still at home to stay there for the duration of the storm. Now, they say, is not the time to begin evacuating.
Be calm, be strong, say a prayer for Texas. We're going to get through this.
You're a religious man?
Yes, I am, sir. I believe the Lord is going to do what the Lord feels that he has to do. And if it's going to hit us, it's going to hit us, but I think that he'll be with us afterward.
And you'll be saying a few words tonight?
Yes, sir, I sure will, on my knees.
The story of the last few days, as everyone waited for Hurricane Rita to reach land, has been evacuations. 2 million people in East Texas and Louisiana needed to evacuate. Many have. In Lake Charles, Louisiana, 50 miles to the east of here, for instance, which will be on the dirty side of the storm and will get the strongest winds, it was critical that people get out, and almost everyone has. Also, Port Arthur, Texas, right here, right in the line of the storm, it was critical to get people out. And ABC's Bob Woodruff today has been watching the nuts and bolts of a small-town evacuation.
And Charlie, they appear to be ready, the city does. As soon as city officials understood that this town was going to be a target of Rita, they initiated their evacuation plan, and today they made one final push to get the last of the residents out. It was an urgent evacuation.
Let's get on the next one. Let's go.
At the airport, the elderly, the sick were loaded onto stretchers and carried onto military transport planes, headed for shelters further inland. In this town of 59,000 people, the police drove the streets, going door to door, offering rides out.
I've got 3 to transport from here.
Officer Rocky Bridges knows the people on his beat. He's concerned about a man he calls Rock Dog, who's refusing to leave.
We known each other too long for that. Come on and go. I'll get you out of here. I'm going to worry about you.
Rock Dog wouldn't listen.
I'll try again. That's all I can do.
By noon, Port Arthur was nearly deserted. The fire department pulled out. The refineries were padlocked. Among the very few driving in were these storm chasers from Colorado's Center for Severe Weather Research.
You do a lot of going in while everyone else is going out, don't you?
Yeah, I call it running the wrong way.
Many residents of New Orleans came here for shelter after Katrina struck. Now the Jackson family is running again, but they don't know where.
You getting tired of this?
Yeah, we tired of being hurricane magnets.
Hurricane magnets.
Yeah.
Police estimate only a few thousand people remain in Port Arthur. Dallas Clavel, a pistol in his belt, won't leave his store, which was already looted last night.
I'm gonna stick around, and I'm not scared.
These 4 men told us they've never run before and won't now.
And I can swim, too. You know what I'm saying? I can swim. I'll float like a butterfly.
But by early afternoon, Rock Dog has changed his mind.
You got to ride, Rock Dog.
He got on the bus, and with the last of the people willing to leave Port Arthur, he headed for the shelter. There has been some looting in town. Police say that they've actually made some arrests, but now the police, as the storm approaches, have been ordered out. So everybody that's here now, Charlie, will probably be stuck here essentially until the storm is over. And Bob Woodruff, who will be here through the night. One of the saddest headlines that we've seen from this storm came from New Orleans. That city has already been devastated, but the rains from Rita that came as the storm passed by breached one of the levees and reflooded parts of the city. ABC's Dean Reynolds is there.
Charlie, with parts of the city again underwater, there is now an urgent effort to keep the floodwaters from spreading.
Orleans EOC, Orleans EOC. This is Sky Sports Georgia 6. Over.
Georgia National Guard Major Barry Guidry stood by helplessly today as a levee that had just been repaired gave way, allowing floodwaters to reclaim New Orleans' 9th Ward.
When I first got here, it was maybe about a 6-foot span. Now you're looking at about a 15-foot span.
2 days ago, this neighborhood had been pumped dry of Hurricane Katrina's floodwaters. Note the school bus in the middle of the street. This morning, after water from the canal poured over the levee here, that bus went under again, and Major Guidry decided it was time to go.
I need to know how soon you can get your guys out.
2220. I can get my people out of there in maybe about 45 minutes to 1 hour.
Okay, you go ahead and go.
Officials said they could withstand 6 inches of new rain here, but more than that would spell trouble for the levees and pumps working in concert. So as rain fell and water flowed into other neighborhoods, convoys of trucks lugging sandbags roamed the city as emergency management teams raced against Rita.
They said Florida Avenue is fairly deep at this point. I guess it's been lapping over the top.
More than lapping, actually. The water rose a foot in 3 hours along Florida Avenue as rapids ran right into a row of new homes, the second major compromise of the levee system in a matter of hours. The areas inundated today were evacuated earlier, so there is little concern about casualties.
The areas that we see water flowing into are areas that were previously flooded. I don't anticipate any flooding into areas that were not previously flooded.
But Charlie, it's important to remember that last month after Katrina blew through here, 80% of the city was underwater. Charlie?
ABC's Dean Reynolds in New Orleans. I mentioned earlier that Rita had already claimed casualties before even reaching land. 24 elderly people being evacuated from Houston to Dallas, being taken to higher ground, were in a bus today that exploded into flames. ABC's Brian Rooney is in Dallas.
It was supposed to be their ride to safety. Elderly nursing home patients were traveling along the clogged interstate south of Dallas when their bus was engulfed in flames. 24 of the 45 people on board never got off as the bus burned to a smoking shell. A triage nurse described what she saw.
Lots of cuts, burns, some bruises, some smoke inhalation, lots of people looking for their spouses or their friends, wanting to get calls out to their family, letting them know they're okay. A lot of people dealing with the fact they know the person sitting next to them didn't make it off.
One of the survivors told his doctors that the bus had stopped once while the driver checked a problem in the rear, and then the bus got underway again. Police officers say the driver had changed a tire, but minutes later the wheel locked and caught fire. As flames climbed up through the back of the bus, the driver and several aides helped patients get off, some of them carrying oxygen bottles. Then at least one of the oxygen canisters caught fire and exploded, trapping the remaining passengers in flames. Of the survivors, only one was listed in critical condition with smoke inhalation.
The majority of people, despite the fact that they're elderly between the ages of 78 and 101, with a lot of chronic lung, heart, kidney disease, and diabetes, etc., are doing very well.
The bus was hauled to the medical examiner with bodies still on board, covered with a blue tarpaulin. Police say the driver held only a Mexican license, and the bus company from McAllen, Texas, has been cited several times in recent years for safety violations. Brian Rooney, ABC News, Dallas.
That is the situation here in Port Arthur, Texas, but there are other stories coming from Hurricane Rita. For those, we go back to New York and my colleague, Elizabeth Vargas.
Thank you, Charlie. When we return, understanding the power of a hurricane, what happened to our reporter in the 100-mile-an-hour wind?
Winds at this stage can smash windows and chimneys and toss around small boats.
3,000 sex offenders gone missing. They were part of the Hurricane Katrina evacuation. Child advocates are very worried. And keeping millions of people safe, so much is riding on his calculations. He is our Person of the Week.
Now you see it. Now you don't. Benefiber, unlike Metamucil, it dissolves completely in beverages and is completely tasteless. Now that's fiberlutionary. Benefiber makes taking fiber easier.
We look out for each other. We do it without thinking, without reward. It's what we do. And that's why there's more help coming from Medicare. New prescription drug coverage. With it, everyone who is eligible for Medicare can be covered for the prescriptions they need to stay healthy. But all of us should learn more about it because choices must be made. And we can help each other because that's what we do.
What cooks like butter, spreads like butter, and has a fresh dairy taste like butter without the cholesterol and high saturated fat? Smart Balance Buttery Spread. Smart Balance just received another Best Taste Award and is endorsed by professional chefs. It's the only spread with a patented balance of fats to help increase HDL good cholesterol and avoids trans fat naturally, not artificially as some spreads do. Smart Balance. You're going to love that buttery taste.
Who would ever think that the waste we generate would generate support for local events? The same people who lead the way in recycling nationwide and who conduct educational programs for our children. We're Waste Management. Working with local leaders, we're developing smart, earth-friendly landfill properties that serve the community in unexpected ways. From everyday collection to environmental protection. Think green. Think Waste Management.
Now you see it. Now you don't. Benefiber, unlike Metamucil, it dissolves completely in beverages and is completely tasteless. Now that's fiberlutionary. Benefiber makes taking fiber easier.
The people staying behind in Rita's path will face powerful winds over the next 24 hours. At one point, Rita's winds clocked 175 miles an hour. They have now slowed to 125 miles an hour, still very fast. We wondered what that difference in speed would mean to people on the ground. So we sent ABC's Jake Tapper to Virginia Tech, where researchers have an experimental wind tunnel. And he learned firsthand a person can only take so much.
At Virginia Tech's wind tunnel, engineers led by Dr. William Davenport study what 175-mile-per-hour winds mean beyond just a number.
It's very important to experience a hurricane-force wind so you get a sense of what people who are out in these things have to go through, especially rescue workers and so on.
This is 50-mile-per-hour winds. It's not yet as strong or as powerful as a hurricane. It's more like a gale force tornado. We've cranked it up to 74 miles per hour. This is where a Category 1 hurricane begins. At this speed, winds can overturn mobile homes and push cars off the road. The only way I'm able to stand is because of these harnesses. 96 miles per hour is when a Category 2 hurricane officially begins. Winds at this speed smash windows and chimneys and toss around small boats. It feels as if everything is going to be ripped from my body, including the skin.
It's one thing to stand in 100-mile-an-hour wind. It's another thing to stand in 100-mile-an-hour wind and have a 100-mile-an-hour stop sign coming at you.
At 111 miles per hour, I could no longer speak into the microphone. It's the beginnings of a Category 3 hurricane. It's painful and tough to breathe. Winds at this velocity tear roofs off houses and uproot large trees. I could not withstand Category 4 level winds, but here's what 140-mile-per-hour winds do to a metal flagpole. Category 4 winds run barges and large boats aground, erode beaches, and surge floodwaters inland. Category 5 winds of 156 miles per hour and higher reduce entire cities to rubble. At a certain point, preparing for winds this strong becomes meaningless. Jake Tapper, ABC News, Blacksburg, Virginia.
A graphic look at the power of a hurricane. When we come back, the hunt for 3,000 registered sex offenders lost in the confusion of Katrina.
With 3,800 students and a staff of 200, Carol is a formidable woman. But she was no match for something smaller than the point of a pencil. It knocked her out so fast she didn't know what hit her. It was a clot. Like Carol, if you've been hospitalized with heart-related chest pain or a certain type of heart attack, what doctors call ACS, chances are you've had a clot. But now, Carol's doctor is helping increase Carol's protection against heart attack and stroke by putting her on Plavix. Plavix, in combination with aspirin and other heart medicines, helps provide greater protection against heart attack and stroke than aspirin and other heart medicines alone by helping keep blood platelets from sticking together and forming clots.
If you have a stomach ulcer or other condition that causes bleeding, you shouldn't use Plavix. When taking Plavix alone or with some medicines, including aspirin, the risk of bleeding may increase. To minimize this risk, talk to your doctor before taking aspirin or other medicines with Plavix. Additional rare but serious side effects could occur.
Ask your doctor about Plavix today, because no matter how formidable you are, you're no match for a dangerous clot.
Hey, can you help me?
We'd like to order now.
Excuse me.
Oh my gosh.
Whatever happened to customer service? At DHL, it's alive and well.
Consider it done.
Call us and see how we're changing the way the shipping business does business.
It was really dark. The road was icy.
It was really slippery.
We started swerving.
I thought we were going to roll over, but we didn't. It stops us swerving and keeps the car straight.
Who's going to help you stay in control?
When things are out of your control.
Someone should.
Playing the guitar is like having a conversation.
Me and B.B. King have a lot in common.
I love to play.
He has diabetes, I have diabetes.
You got a girlfriend?
We both play the blues. He doesn't like to wait for results, I don't like to wait.
All done within 5 seconds. You just can't beat that.
Results in just 5 seconds. Ask for One Touch Ultra. One touch changes everything.
With so many people on the run tonight from Hurricane Rita, there is a disturbing report about the evacuation from Hurricane Katrina 3 weeks ago. Among the millions of people running from that storm were thousands of sex offenders. Officials now say they have no idea where most of them are now. Here's ABC's Pierre Thomas.
As authorities raced to evacuate New Orleans, they lost track of more than 3,000 registered sex offenders, nearly 300 of them violent, including convicted child molesters and rapists. The fear now that many are living in shelters and communities across the country, communities unaware of the predators in their midst.
We are working with law enforcement both on a state, national, and local level.
The names and pictures of the offenders have been posted on this website. Louisiana officials have begun sharing this information with the Red Cross and others sheltering Katrina's victims. The U.S. Marshals have formed a task force to help track down those they consider at high risk to attack again.
This is a chance for them to wipe their slate clean and get into a community with no record of who they are, what they've done.
Just last week, police discovered 6 sex offenders from Louisiana at a Massachusetts shelter. Federal law requires sex offenders to register with local police when they move to new neighborhoods.
The most dangerous of those individuals will be the ones that are least likely to comply with the law, even further endangering children.
This week, as Rita approached, Texas authorities called 1,500 violent offenders in the evacuation zone. They required them to report where they are relocating to and to contact parole officers within 7 days. In Florida, where hurricanes are common, evacuated sex offenders are banned from shelters. They must go to jail or other sites approved by the parole officers. And as for the families still living in shelters, Louisiana authorities have this warning.
The same way you wouldn't let your small child go into a public restroom by themselves, you shouldn't let them run around a shelter by themselves.
Otherwise, there might be more victims from Katrina. Pierre Thomas, ABC News, Washington.
And 2 other news items tonight. The embattled commissioner of the Food and Drug Administration resigned today. Lester Crawford led the agency through a series of recent controversies. And in news overseas, in the Middle East, 15 Palestinians were killed and 80 were wounded when a pickup truck loaded with explosives accidentally blew up. Hamas militants had parked it in the middle of a celebration rally in Gaza. When we come back, our person of the week, America depends on him to tell it like it is, especially on days like this.
World News Tonight and Person of the Week, brought to you by Walmart.
That's everything. Oh, sweet bachelor pad.
That's what I'm talking about. Let's get it on. From digital music players and LCD TVs to laptops and digital cameras, when it comes to living the digital lifestyle, bring it home at the Walmart price. Dinner is squeezed.
Nice.
Me? I'm a problem solver. There's a problem, I solve it. One problem I thought I'd solved? My acid reflux disease. I thought it was just bad heartburn. But when I went back to my doctor, he told me over time stomach acid had damaged the lining of my esophagus. He prescribed Nexium. Said I needed more than heartburn relief. My esophagus needed repair. Nexium healed the erosions in my esophagus. And 1 prescription Nexium pill a day keeps me healed and relieves my heartburn. So I don't just feel better, I am better. My doctor did say other serious stomach conditions may still exist, and headache, diarrhea, and abdominal pain could be side effects of Nexium.
Talk to your doctor about Nexium and find out if a free trial is right for you.
Even the best problem solvers need a little help sometimes.
Nexium, the healing purple pill. If you can't afford your medications, AstraZeneca may be able to help.
Noble competitors, later today, what will you all want? A comfortable ride home. This is the Kia Amante Premium Sedan. People of power, it has power, everything. And the endurance of a 10-year warranty. Now run, swim, bike, no matter where you finish, ride home like a champion.
Claim what should be yours, the Kia Amante, starting around $24,000 after cash back.
Stupid allergies. Poor kid can't sleep.
He's all congested from nasal allergies.
Only Nasonex is clinically proven to treat and help prevent congestion and other seasonal nasal allergy symptoms.
Let's tell his mom. You go.
Side effects were generally mild and included headache, viral infection, sore throat, nosebleeds, and coughing.
His congestion's better.
But your nose isn't.
For seasonal nasal allergy symptoms, Nasonex is the one to treat and help prevent congestion. Talk to your doctor.
I'm Steve Dunn. Next in the Northwest Only all-local newscast tonight, Oregon's Guard taking charge. The impressive new role local troops will play in this latest hurricane disaster, plus a possible cougar sighting near Beaverton. What our cameras caught hiding in the bushes. Next.
Finally tonight, our person of the week, and he is especially important to the country on a night like this. He is not a household name, but you have likely seen his face over the past few weeks, and it is no exaggeration to say that over the last few days, our person of the week has helped save many, many lives.
There's a lot of pressure, but you really can't take the time to dwell on that. Gotta go, Jen. As long as you focus on, you know, saving lives, everything else seems to fall into place.
140 knots, goes to 170.
You might say Max Mayfield is always in the eye of the storm.
Yeah. Do you know what is left out here now?
He is the director of the National Hurricane Center in Miami, Florida.
I've been here for 33 years, and I guess I've spent most of my adult career trying to prevent a large loss of life.
Max Mayfield leads a team of forecasters. They've been tracking Hurricane Rita 24 hours a day.
I've told you everything I know.
He works the phones, updating officials in Texas, talking to the new director of FEMA.
A call from Dave Paulson.
Taking a moment to call his son, who on Thursday was in Texas.
Hey, Leah, this is Dad.
In the path of the storm.
Even if you make that perfect forecast, if you can't get people to take the appropriate action, it's all for nothing. With maximum sustained winds of 145 miles per hour.
So a big part of the job involves warning the public. He will do as many as 100 interviews with television stations in a single day.
This is Max Mayfield reporting to the National Hurricane Center in Miami.
The day before Hurricane Katrina struck land, Mayfield predicted a disaster.
There is potential for a large loss of life.
He warned President Bush and FEMA. He even personally called governors and city officials.
I wanted to be able to leave the National Hurricane Center that night and go home and sleep knowing that I'd done everything that I could do.
This week, Congress called on Mayfield to testify about the government's response to Katrina.
You all performed in heroic fashion, getting that information out. But for that, this could have been even a worse tragedy.
Thank you.
Max Mayfield was born in Oklahoma. He is passionate about Oklahoma football and respectful of the power of nature, having grown up in Tornado Alley.
You know, I remember the tornado warnings when they would go off and we'd get into the closet and, you know, hunker down there. And so, sure, there was always that fascination.
Mayfield's wife, Linda, is a school librarian. They have 3 grown children. Tonight, he is mindful of families in harm's way, but mindful, too, that science gives him a chance to warn them.
A few days out of the year, you really feel like you make a difference, and that difference comes in saving lives, and I'm just glad to be a small part of the nation's hurricane warning program.
And so we choose Max Mayfield, and we asked Mr. Mayfield what his favorite part of the job was. December, he said, when hurricane season is over. And that's World News Tonight. Stay with ABC News for the very latest on Hurricane Rita, including a special edition of 2020 later this evening. I'm Elizabeth Vargas. For Charlie Gibson and all of us here at ABC News, good night.
ABC's World News Tonight, honored with 3 Emmy Awards, more than any other newscast. When it comes to reporting the most important stories of our time, the most honored network news continues to be World News Tonight. Your world, clearly reported here.
As the edge of Hurricane Rita makes landfall tonight, 2020's John Stossel and Elizabeth Vargas track the monster storm's movement live. For complete hurricane coverage and the latest breaking developments, stay with ABC News and turn to 2020 tonight.
Now on K2 News at 6:30, they spent weeks rescuing Hurricane Katrina survivors. Now local troops are being called upon again, their powerful role in Hurricane Rita's recovery. Plus, Portland goes condo crazy, but at what cost to renters?
I mean, I can barely afford what I'm paying right now.
The new plan that could push hundreds of people out. And 2 exclusive, rescuing a bald eagle's nest. Why so many are working so hard to save this piece of natural history.
Live from K2, the Northwest only all-local 6:30 newscast with Steve Dunn and Microcast weather with Rod Hill. K2 and you, the spirit of the Northwest.
Good evening. Thank you very much for being with us. As Hurricane Rita nears landfall, Oregon National Guard...
Sorry.